There is a lot of literature on autism and ABA out there, and what's on our bookshelf. So we've got some great recommendations for you. Hi, I'm Shira.
And I'm Shayna.
We're behavior analysts that create weekly content about how to teach kids with autism so that they make real progress. And we create shareable resources to make your job just a little easier.
Today's topic is all about book recommendations for BCBAs. And if you want more videos like this, make sure you to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on new video releases. So what prompted this blog? A few weeks ago, Shira and I were at a conference and they had an ABA bookstore at the conference. And I am like a little kid in a candy shop when it comes to ABA books. I love them. I love flipping through them. I love seeing what's new, what's out there. I even like looking at old books that I already have. Like, I have this one. It's so good. So that's what prompted this blog.
So let's start with some of like the oldies but goodies. I would say these are the ones that, more Shayna, but I read when we were first getting into the field before there was so much available, and some of the classics.
So the very, very first book that was ever given to me as an ABA therapist, I called it affectionately the Maurice Manual. And it's actually called Behavioral Intervention for Young Children with Autism by Maurice. But it's Maurice Manual. This was before the ABLES. Can you imagine? There was life before the ABLES. And it was really our guide. It was broken down into, a beginner and intermediate and advanced section for teaching programs. So it taught you, how to set up a room. It talked to parents a little bit about why ABA therapy is important. And then it showed you, and it actually had some written programs in there. So it was pretty cool.
I remember one of the first times we met when we were just starting like my supervision journey. And that was the book that Shayna gave me. It was like, you need to read this book. And I was like, whoa, this is like a manual / textbook. I don't think I read through the whole thing. But yeah, no, it's very valuable. One of the other books that I think you gave me was called Teach Me Language. I don't know that this is one that a lot of people have heard about, but it really is in a lot of the programs that we offer in terms of how language is taught, how to support language, how to, scaffold and use receptive and expressive language in different ways.
And the other old school book is A Work in Progress, which is very similar to the Maurice Manual. It's by Ron Leaf, and it goes through ABA programs as well. Now, I do have to mention these old school books. The one thing that they are missing from those is more the manding. It talks about expressive language, but it doesn't really talk a lot about manding. And we know our field has changed a lot since then. So keep that in mind and take that with a grain of salt when you're reading these books.
Similarly, with a book on behavior called Communication-Based Intervention for Problem Behavior by Carr and Levin. It's a lot about, what functional assessment is and looking at the function of behavior and looking at communication as a replacement skill. So it was a really good read.
It's an older book, but it really does give a lot of scenarios, which is really cool. It's scenario-based, so it's not just reading through a manual. And then Shira and I started talking about, okay, so those are old books. What's on your newer book list? And the first one I came up with, I should be saying like, Peak and ABLES and VB-MAP, and they're all on my bookshelf, but I feel like they're a given. I was like, teach your child to read in 100 easy lessons. I recommend that book to a lot of my learners who are just starting a reading program.
And I think anything direct instruction we love. Language for learning, teach your child to read, any one of those things are great. Another one that we fell in love with when it first came out was the Early Start Denver model. And we're talking not just about like the assessment and the checklist, but the one that's written for parents. It's called An Early Start for Your Child with Autism. And while it's written for parents, we read it as professionals, and we recommend it to professionals because it does provide a really great framework for working with kids, really little kids, and building those skills really naturally, and continuing to expand on them, and then also being able to work with parents of those little kids.
I also like Ruby Parent Training, RUBI training, and it's really great when you have to do any type of parent coaching and you've never done this before. It's actually a step-by-step manual.
Another manual that I really love is called ABA Visualized. I will request that they make the shipping to Canada a little bit easier. But that being said, it's a really great picture / manual book to explain those ABA principles in a very user-friendly way. It's not too thick, it's not too overwhelming, and it's a great way to have those conversations with people.
I also like book called Visual Strategies for Improving Communication. It's by Linda Hodgson. And it's a really, again, it's a little bit of an older book, but it goes through visual schedules, what they should look like, how to create not only the schedules, but mini schedules within those schedules. And it's very visual. Imagine that, a visual strategies book that's so visual. And it's really just a great quick read.
So since I work in a school, I really enjoyed reading the behavior code. What I enjoyed about it was that it was written by a BCBA and a psychologist. So it really incorporated that, mental health piece when talking about behavior challenges and how to write behavior plans for kids who might be struggling with mental health or anxiety or things that are not just behavioral based. And it talks a lot about the antecedent strategies and setting up the environment for success, which I think in a school environment was really helpful for me.
I have the ethics book on my shelf, and I still refer to it, even though I've been out of school for years, Ethics for Behavior Analysts by John Bailey. And I always buy the updated version as well.
So let's talk social skills, some of our favorite. And this is probably one of the most common questions that we get asked is about social skills curriculum. And while we're not fans of sticking to very rigid curricula, we do feel like these provide really good resources and materials for teaching some of the social skills. I really love Socially Savvy, which is great for like preschoolers, and it comes up with some really good fun games and interactive activities, which are ways to practice those social skills. And it also includes a really nice assessment of those skills.
Crafting Connections by Justin Leaf is also a nice, they've got an assessment in there, and they've got some really great ideas for social skills programs in there as well.
For some of the older students I work with, I use the peers curriculum, which also goes through very systematic, breaks down the skills on things that are more relevant to maybe teenagers or young adults, things like, phone skills or things like that. So I like the peers curriculum.
Anything by Jed Baker. I absolutely love his writing. He's got such a great mind, and he's got such great ideas for social skills classes. Jed Baker, Brenda Smith-Miles, she did the hidden curriculum. Again, amazing reads.
And we also do use the social thinking curriculum as part of our social skills lessons. It's really great for like either that modeling part of the BST where you're showing them a story or you're doing an activity, and you can use the characters or the books and the models that social thinking provides, and then put it into a BST framework, start practicing those skills and reinforcing and giving feedback on those skills.
Sure, I could talk about books all day long, but I don't think we have time. I know that as soon as we stop record on this blog, I'm going to come up with about 20 more books. Go, oh, we should have said that one. We should have said that one. So maybe stay tuned for a follow-up blog on that. But in the meantime, type your comments into the chat. If there's any books that you love and that you'd recommend, make sure that you're writing them in and comment below on that.
Yeah, so let us know what your favorite books are for BCBA or ABA professionals. And in the meantime, you could download our top 5 materials free download by clicking the link in and around this video.
So the top 5 materials aren't books, they're actual materials we use. So it's a little bit different than the books, but take a look and click on that for that free download.
And for more information on book recommendations for BCBAs, visit howtoaba.com to claim your free top 5 materials download. We also encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, and leave a like and comment below if you have further questions.